the biz, and we got Mill Hustles in the house. And this is the AEW All In Aftermath, and we're going to talk about CM Punk and Jack Perry. How's it going, Mill Hustles?
What's poppin'?
It's going good, man. Eating my Hot Pockets, making that money, you already know.
Yes, sir.
Now, going back a couple of days, right? All In was probably AEW's biggest event of the year, and most likely it will be its version of WrestleMania every single year going forward. And again, I want to ask you, what have you heard about All In and the whole CM Punk and Jack Perry situation?
Well, I heard a lot of rumors and stories. I haven't asked anybody that's actually in an insider.
Yeah.
Because I really haven't spoken to any of my old sources in a while. But what the most inconclusive part is why did the scuffle happen?
Right. Well, going back even a couple more weeks ago, there was an incident with Jack Perry and CM Punk backstage at a Collision show. And basically what happened was, I think CM Punk ended up sending Jack Perry home or something like that, to an extent, because of a spot that he wanted to do with real glass. And CM Punk, being the veteran that he is, was giving him the advice and telling him, no, like, don't do that. You shouldn't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I guess like he had it in his own right to kind of just send him home. You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking like, okay, like, is CM Punk in charge? Like what kind of power does he have to send people home?
I mean, he's their number one star.
Yeah, exactly. Or tell people what to do as far as that goes, right? Like giving advice is also a big thing, right?
I mean, you pay your dues and then you pass your knowledge down. I mean, whether someone wants to listen to it or not is a completely different thing. But
yeah,
him refusing to work with real glass is reasonable. I mean, I wouldn't want to work with real glass. I've always thought that extreme hardcore wrestling is a bunch of bull. So
in this case, Jack Perry wanted to use the real glass, and CM Punk was advising against it. Correct. So at All In, we have the 0 hour or whatever you want to call it. I guess the buy-in, and the match happens between Jack Perry versus Hook, and this is for the FTW Championship. Your boy Taz's fake title over there. So, anyways, hey, what's up, Bobby Warren? So what happens is during the match, there's a spot where they're like kind of like, duking it out, kind of like near the stage area. And there was a limousine sitting. So, him and Jack Perry and Hook get on top of the vehicle. And I guess Hook actually suplexes Jack Perry on a portion of the glass. So, or something like that, something to that extent. I don't remember if it was one or the other. Somebody threw somebody into the glass, though, and I believe Jack Perry's elbow got cut. And then right after they got off the vehicle, Jack Perry looks at the camera and he makes a comment saying, "You see something about like that being real glass." Like, and he was referencing it to CM Punk, basically. So it was basically kind of like a shot in the face to CM Punk saying like, hey, like I can do this and you can't tell me what to do, basically. So that's where kind of things blew up, because after that match was the start of the actual show. And CM Punk versus Samoa Joe was that first match. So as Jack Perry was going back and CM Punk was going out to his match, there was a confrontation, I believe, backstage between them. Apparently, CM Punk choked out Jack Perry, but apparently there's kind of like a lot of hearsay about what actually happened. Apparently Samoa Joe was back there also, and he was kind of like the middleman, trying to like, just kind of not make sure they don't get into a fight. And eventually both of them get sent home. Of course, now, if you guys saw the reports today, both of them are now officially suspended, with All Out being a week away in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. So that's very interesting. But in this case, I think CM Punk also, he saw what happened during Perry's match. He called Jack Perry out during the, as he went backstage. And again, the confrontation happened. So what are your thoughts on that?
Man, what the fuck has Tony Khan got going on in that company backstage? Every week it's an incident with
Yeah.
somebody, and especially CM Punk. Like,
Hmm.
I know that the Young Bucks, the Elite, which is a term I use loosely for them.
Yeah.
Um, apparently, they're friends with Jungle Boy,
Hmm.
Jack Perry, and
Yep.
I don't know, man. I just think that they're messing with CM Punk, and
I hear they are very
Tony Khan is just letting shit slide too much. Like, come on, dude, grow some balls and tell these motherfuckers, y'all got to work together. Y'all need to quit fighting, or y'all all are going home.
yeah.
You know. And he doesn't even need to tell shit to CM Punk, because I've never heard CM Punk to be a shit stirrer ever. I mean, he speaks his mind,
Yeah.
but I've never heard him go around and do shit like, how they say what Shawn Michaels used to do back in the day. I've never known him to be problematic like that.
Yeah.
And trust me, my time in the business, I've worked with some problematic people.
Hmm.
So, it just doesn't make sense, dude. And then, going back to the veteran giving the rookie advice, especially in this generation, kids that age, man, it's gotten to the point where it's like, you got to either yell at them or put your fucking hands on them so they listen.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and in this instance, I don't know who started it backstage first, right? Again, I think this was more of Jack Perry's fault, if I can be honest, because he kind of instigated it when he was out there, putting it out there for everyone to see on TV. But at the same time, like, anyone that does dirt sheets or talks about this knows exactly what Jack Perry was talking about. A regular casual wrestling fan probably wouldn't have caught that, right? But when I was watching it live, I knew right away who he was digging at, and I was like, oh shit, like this might cause some dilemma. And sure enough, it was reported, and it was reported during the show. I was seeing a bunch of like tweets go off saying like, oh, like breaking report, like CM Punk and Jack Perry get sent home, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh my god, like not another incident. Like, we just had Brawl Out last year with the Elite.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of annoying to hear, and I was just like, man, like, I feel bad for TK in a way, because they apparently, this match or this pay-per-view, this event, shattered all sorts of records, whatever you want to call it, number of tickets sold, number of people there in the venue, number of
Yeah.
pay-per-view eyes.
And then, some shit like this, it wasn't going to really affect the event because it wasn't nothing on camera, but it's like,
Yeah.
Tony has shit to worry about, and they start acting like children. The problem, the problem with guys like the Elite, with guys like Jack Perry and all their friends, is they're in a wrestling company, but they've never been in the wrestling business. Because if you've ever been in a locker room where they have real veterans, and that includes indies,
Yep.
this is not tolerated. You would have got your ass kicked and sent home.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hope people understand the context of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
That these guys wrestle, but they have never been in the real wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Khan hasn't either.
Yeah. To some degree, I agree with that. 5 years is 5 years, right? But like, they don't have the history that a lot of these veterans have, scratching and kind of crawling their way through, those indie, those low indie promotions, and then getting into,
yeah, I mean, anybody can work with the low indie. That, I'm sorry, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
The indies that I have worked for drew 500, 600, 700, 800 people and would have 7 or 8 veterans on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then you go to where these guys come from, where they're in a fucking barn with 30 people breaking light tubes over their head, flying through tables, setting their feet on fire, Joey Janela. And that's not the wrestling business. That's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Watts from the 80s, but he would have fucking kicked ass and sent them all home. He would have probably had a stern talking with CM Punk, but CM Punk is the guy that draws ratings. He's the one that sells the tickets. So he has more leverage than these guys.
Yeah.
And if Tony Khan is smart, he'll you know, I mean, you can only put up with it so much, but he will choose CM Punk over these clowns because these guys are overpaid, they're untalented, they're problematic. I mean, come on, EVP, what the fuck do they do?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a title at this point, you know, just so that they can maybe get a little more on their paycheck. If I could be 100% honest, I don't know.
Look, I'll give the guys credit. Okay, they put out the All In event at the Sears Center before it was AEW. It was like Ring of Honor, the NWA. They all, you know, put their resources together, and then Tony Khan came in and he put the money behind it. So I'll give those guys credit. They created another place to work, but at the same time, they've never been in the real wrestling business.
Yep.
You know, I mean, Ring of Honor, I would consider, you know, wrestling business.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. These guys, they need to be put in a real and pro wrestling environment and get a wake up call like, yo, this bullshit's not going to fly here. If this would have happened under Vince McMahon's watch, they would have all been sent home. CM Punk would have probably got suspended, but the other guys, they would have been done for.
And not just suspended, but I'm talking about like fines. Because when do you ever hear them saying, "Oh, Tony Khan suspended and fined him $50,000, $100,000"? You know what I mean? Even though there was no really like, you know, I mean, nothing going on like that, right? But it's like you hear it all the time in WWE, like in the past, like, oh, you know, Vince fined Triple H $100,000, this and that, you know, and you know whether that's true or not. But either way, at the end of the day, like I feel like if that was Vince or you know whoever is running WWE now, it definitely would be a lot different. I think we would have seen someone would have been made of an example of right away.
Yeah. Or even Eric Bischoff. I mean, I don't know why Tony Khan just doesn't hire somebody like that. Like, look, you're going to be my muscle, in lack of a better term. Whenever these guys start, you know, acting up, you're going to be the guy that's going to set them straight. And you have authority to let them go, except for CM Punk. You cannot let CM Punk go because he's the golden goose. You know, but these other guys, you know,
I hate to say that, and like it's to a point now where like, you know, I know CM Punk has been people are saying out there in the media that he, you know, at one point he said he hated being there. Also, I don't know, like just to throw this in, also, you know, because I know Punk was in a bad mood even prior to the pay-per-view. Apparently, after he landed in London or whatever, there was no AEW representative to escort him to his hotel. So he had to take the train for like a few hours, and apparently he got lost. And luckily, like there was fans nice enough to help him, you know, get to his you know, location wherever he was staying. And I think like that is just a very bad representation of the company in general, because it's like you're telling me that one of your top guys, a guy that like,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got knocked off for a second.
Okay,
so what was I? Yeah, so like I was saying the golden goose part, and then you were like, you agree, and then I got cut off.
Okay, so yeah, so basically I was saying that you know, Punk was probably already in a bad mood prior to the show, right? Because apparently when he got to London, again, he didn't have any AEW personnel escort him from the airport to his hotel. So he kind of had to figure all that out. He ended up on a train from what I was seeing, and there's actually pictures floating around on the X app saying or showing that he was actually on one of the subways over there to get to his hotel. But luckily there was a few people that were nice enough to help him get to locate wherever he was staying.
I mean, that could have been a simple logistical error. Doesn't necessarily mean that it was done on purpose, but
apparently
that would,
Yeah, no, let me finish. I'm sorry. So apparently Tony Khan or somebody from had given him a phone number to call so that he could be in contact with somebody, but the phone number was a dead number apparently. So you know, I don't. Again, maybe you're right. Maybe it could have been, you know, an error on somebody's part there, right? But in any case, like, you know, again, your top guy who's even though, I mean, I didn't know which part of the card he was going to be on. He was the first match of the actual main show. I'm just like, man, like this is like your top guy. Like I hate to say it, right? Like I'm going to put CM Punk above everybody else in that company, including Kenny Omega. And the only other people I put like next to him are probably guys like Bryan Danielson.
This is what I think happened.
Yeah.
Either whoever gave him that number probably gave him a wrong digit, or Punk perhaps dialed it wrong. That could have very well happened too. They could have said, the number is 888-833-333, and then he may have put an 8 at the end or some shit, or whoever sent it to him.
Yeah,
You never know.
Yeah, it could have been Punk, or it could have been somebody else. A lot of people were thinking that it could have been one of the elite people trying to play a prank on CM Punk.
Something like that for an event that's significant. If it turned out that that's the case, I would fire them immediately. Yeah. I said, you just risked our biggest star missing the show because you're mad at them for something. And no, fuck you. Go home. You're fired.
Yep. And me and one of my other buddies were discussing this, and we were just saying, man, TK just really needs to get his shit together. And I agree with you that, he needs to hire somebody to kind of, be in charge of that kind of stuff, because, TK, he can't do it all. I mean, you can't compare him to Vince McMahon, right? Vince McMahon is from a different era. He built the company his dad had into something a lot bigger than what it was. And then of course, he took his shots, that he made mistakes along the ways, but he learned from everything, and he's been doing it for much, much longer than TK has, obviously, right? But
you got to also remember. Yeah, you also got to remember that, he had people. Yeah, like Vince McMahon doesn't directly fire people, but he'll tell who to fire. The only time that Vince will tell the talent themselves that they're being let go is in extreme cases.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the talent relations person, come on, Christopher Daniels, isn't that your fucking job? Like, I get that the elite are your friends, but fuck, this is business. Put it to the side, dude. Tell these guys, quit fucking around with the company's money. We're still new. We're still in the red, and you're putting us in danger. Quit the bullshit,
It is bullshit.
Hey, guys, excuse all my language.
Don't worry, we're not being monetized over here. So. We got like 1 or 2 people watching. That's okay. So in this case, we are... It is BS, and I think it's very sad that Tony Khan had to start off his media scrum after the event, which, again, the event wasn't bad. I enjoyed the event, but he had to start off the media scrum mentioning the situation between Jack Perry and CM Punk, and I just thought, man, dude, like...
Yeah, I think he just, since the word got out, because in the wrestling business, keeping a secret is impossible. Somehow, some way, things always get leaked out.
Correct.
And there's been stories of wrestlers putting recording devices into people's offices to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
But and I've known a few people that got fired for that too. But it's like, Jesus, man.
All I can say is, like, I'm kind of siding on CM Punk with what happened back there. Even if CM Punk did kind of, like, start the shoving contest or whatever like that, both of them could have handled that differently, I think. And I think at the end of the day, like, there should be like some sort of crap, like, or some sort of like security or something going on. Like,
at this point, I know that that AJ Mendez is leaving Women of Wrestling because their contract's up.
Correct.
Why doesn't Tony Khan just hire her and say, hey, come work for us? You can agent the women's matches or some shit, but really be here to keep your husband's head leveled. You know what I mean?
You could,
and I'm not knocking Punk for that, but I think that if she's there, you know what I mean, maybe he'll react to things a little differently.
Well, you can say that, but then look at Renee Paquette and John Moxley. Do you think that she controls what he does in the ring or his actions? I don't think so.
No, not at all. I mean, but at the same time, John Moxley's not nearly the draw that CM Punk is.
Yeah.
And John Moxley, man, God, what the hell happened to him? He used to be pretty good in the WWE, and now that he's doing whatever he wants, it's like, what the fuck? My good friend, and I call him a good friend because I've interacted with him once or twice, called Jim Cornette is that guy, by the way. For those of you that don't know Jim Cornette, look up Jim Cornette. Has called John Moxley the worst wrestler in the world. I don't agree with him on that, but he's gotten pretty bad. It's like his punches still suck. You know, all he's doing is bleeding all the time in these hardcore matches. Like, come on, man. You know, do what you were doing in NXT. You know what I mean?
Yep, and to be honest, like, you know, I like John Moxley. First of all, I like his character, right? As far as his in-ring style goes, I don't think it's necessary. You know, I don't think it's necessary to bleed in all of the matches either. I think it's a little overdone at times. I feel like it's kind of just like an ongoing meme or inside joke with people that really enjoy watching, you know, AEW or WWE, that, you know, every time John Moxley has a match, it's rare to not see him bleed. Like, me and my buddy make bets, like, to see if he's gonna bleed or not. But anyways, guys like him, you know, hey, what's up, Nguyen Dang? It's just interesting to see the development, especially after his rehab. You know, he's done a little bit less on the mic as of late, but at the same time, it is whatever. I mean, you know, if you want to talk about that, we can talk about the Stadium Stampede match that they had. He actually took some what do you call it? Some skewers to the head during that match. I don't know if you saw the pic on that. Still there?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. I'll try to find that pic while you're getting your stuff fixed. Skewers. Oh man, yeah, that was tough to see. All right, let me know if you're there or not. Mill Hustles is in that. What's up with Nagui and Dang? How's it going? So if you guys are just joining in, I am multi-streaming on my B-Tech channel and our Scorpion Deathlock channel. You know, I do a little bit of wrestling podcasting with Tito and Mill Hustles, and I'm going to be getting another buddy of mine. This is a local one to maybe chime in on things as well. Let me see if I can find this picture. So this was a sight to see during the Stadium Stampede match. I think it was Penta that went and put the skewers in his head. Hopefully he's okay.
I mean, I don't even know why Pentagon is Pentagon Jr. That's how I know him. Why is he participating in crap like that? You know, like, first of all, these kind of antics don't sell tickets. They don't draw ratings. If anything, they might make people turn away. I mean, they already think the wrestling business is phony now since it's been exposed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And come on, man. Like, a Pentagon is an excellent, excellent talent. I was a big fan of his. Yeah. But it's like, what? Come on, man. Why would you participate in this?
That's it. I don't know. I think that Tony Khan, you know, he was rushed. You know, I know you don't really watch AEW too much, but, you know, leading up to All In, there really wasn't a lot of matches, and I kind of think that they just threw stuff together. And of course, being that it was in Wembley Stadium, you know, they had to have a Stadium Stampede match. In this case, you know, stupid stunts like this happened. There wasn't really a lot of, like, I really thought there was going to be more spots in the actual match, really, but it was kind of generic. You know, if there was just, like, this one was one of the main spots. I know there was one where, you know, the best friend's mom came in her minivan and she brought brownies, and they used the pans to, like, smack the other team in the head, right?
Cesaro, that's funny, though.
Cesaro,
that's pretty funny.
Cesaro and the fat guy, the other fat guy, I think his name is what's his name? I forget it, but he's buddies with John Moxley over here.
No, see that right there. I mean, I'm not a fan of it for wrestling, but I that's a little humorous.
Yeah, so no, you know, it's just a lot of things. The cooking pans and the stuff backstage. It was all well done. I think there was a one point where Penta actually tried doing a spot on the ladder with somebody else. I believe, I forget who he. But the ladder broke, dude. You had to see that. Like, it was hilarious that the ladder freaking broke, and that what AJ, some guy, his name is AJ. He's like with you know, Penta and his brother Phoenix. He's like the English translator. Forget his last name. I think it's Abrahantes.
I know who it is. Yeah.
Something like that. He had to go and, like, hold the ladder for Penta, dude. And it's funny because, like, halfway through the match, Penta went and changed outfits. Like, he was wearing the white at first, as you can see there in the pic. And then he went and changed into, like, his red outfit, because apparently his red outfit is, like, more like, you know, daring, or he just does more in general. You know what I mean? So I thought that was dumb. But anyways, I mean, I know you weren't going to be here that long, Mill Hustles. I don't know if you want me to go over the card a little bit. Like I said, I have the card here waiting.
I saw the card. It was cool.
Is there anything specific that you would want to talk about in that card, right? You know, like, I mean, the Samoa Joe CM Punk match, you know, a lot of people enjoyed that match. I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the main event before I roll.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
MJF in the main event, cool.
Yeah.
Adam Cole as his opponent, why? At Wembley Stadium, dude.
Yeah.
Of all places, Wembley Stadium. You know what would have been a good main event? Mm-hmm. Sting versus MJF for the title. I would have did that instead. Just because Sting has the name value.
I think, you know, Sting was in the pay-per-view, you know. I think they ended up in a coffin match with Darby Allin. It was like a tag team. Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve and I believe forgot the other guy. Swerve and it wasn't Brian Cage. It was one of his other. But it was Christian Cage, actually. That was like a strange bedfellow, I guess, connection over there. But I think it was a coffin match, and it was really extremely stupid. I didn't really see the point. I think that they had to pull somebody else from the match at one point. There it is right there. Christian Cage. I believe the Sting and Darby did win that match, though. So, I mean, I don't know. I
like Christian Cage, man, a lot.
Yeah,
I think based on what I know about Christian, he's another guy that should be giving out advice, and people should be taking heed to it. But I feel like with all the shit going on, like he's like, he probably just keeps to himself. Like, nah, I don't want to get caught up.
They just don't want any of the drama.
Like that. Hell, they mentioned that Sting and Chris Jericho have never wrestled before, and they're right. Mm-hmm. That would have been a good pre-main event, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Also, I really didn't care to see Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay. I don't think it did anything for Jericho's legacy, and I definitely don't think it did anything for Will Ospreay, even though he won the match. I know the guy can wrestle, right? But I don't know. There was literally the match was announced the week before the pay-per-view. There was really no build up to it, you know, other than the fact that apparently they were supposed to fight like 2 or 3 years ago in Japan or something like that, and the match never happened because of COVID. So there's that. I don't see any like good build up to that match, but it is what it is, I guess. Here, check it out. You can even see this. The match is he going to end the career? I'm going to get a copyright strike over here. Only 5 seconds.
Just
close it. It's over.
That's all right.
Okay. The end of the icon.
Look at the. Did you see what?
Yes.
No.
There, I'll just pause it there. Obviously, Sting won the. They won the match. So
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Sting is really just there for a check. That's another guy that should be giving the younger talent advice to, and I'm sure that he's the same way, or he just keeps to himself and just doesn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, look, and I like Adam Cole, man, but come on, man, at Wembley Stadium, you couldn't have had a bigger main event than that.
Yeah, I honestly didn't. I felt like this should have been the first match, and a lot of people were complaining that, you know, Kenny Omega should have been like, again, fighting someone like a CM Punk or maybe a Will Ospreay.
Hell, that would have been cool.
That would have been awesome. That would have been like a good 30-minute match that was just like, you know, intense. Like I really didn't get that. I really didn't feel like any of the matches were like, you know, like you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. Hell, I would have put CM Punk versus, you know, Kenny Omega. And look, I'm not that big of a fan of Kenny Omega whatsoever, but he does have a little bit of name value, a little bit. Yeah. He has more than the Bucks and the rest of the elite. Yep. Hell, they could have did that, and the winner, you know, they could have did that match first, and whoever the winner was would have faced MJF at the end of the night.
That would have been awesome. Also, they should have did some sort of like eliminator tournament, I guess, for that specific title. Even though technically CM Punk is the real world's heavyweight champion, you know, he's still carrying around the title that he never lost. So, you know, that's basically the AEW title for Collision. And that both titles were defended in the show. You know, CM Punk won that match versus Joe. So, you know,
they could have did a repeat of CM Punk and John Cena when John Cena became the champ, and then CM Punk came back from injury. Like, hey,
Yep.
That's a nice looking belt. I had the same one, and then they picked an undisputed champion.
Yeah, no,
And then
I
you know
definitely
what?
agree.
I
They
would
kind of
have
dropped
let
the ball there.
MJF win that because that guy's rising, man. I like MJF a lot.
Yeah, I can't comment too much on MJF. He's still very early in his career. I can tell you one thing though, like the seeing the development for him over the past 5 years has been interesting to watch. I haven't really cared for a lot of the last I guess angles that he's had, because basically the angle that he had with Adam Cole is the same thing that he had with Chris Jericho. It was the same thing that he had with Sammy Guevara. It's literally like he's just trying to find a friend, trying to kind of find acceptance, because everybody
I
hates
think he's just using people.
Yeah, and that there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you want to scratch your way to the top like that, that's going to happen, right? But I just feel like they're just kind of overusing the same angle, and they're not really, I guess, trying anything new with him. His entrance was pretty cool, though. I don't know if you got to see that entrance or not. You might want to go look that up later. But he was being pushed like on a kind of like a fake throne, I guess. But he had his devil mask on, and I think like every time they hit like a certain section, he had like females dressed up like in robes, like bowing to him as he was going out to the entrance. So I thought that was pretty cool for them to do.
Speaking of Sammy Guevara, have you ever met him?
I have met him, actually. I got to meet him at a local, like a kind of like a Collector Mania. I think they, or actually no, we had an event called WrestleFest a couple years back. This was like, I think 2019, pre-COVID, like right before AEW was like getting started, I believe. And I met him. He was cool. He was very
he's a good guy. I've spoken to him before on Facebook before he got big on on AEW TV. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, I got to meet him. I'll send you a pic later. I think I have a pic floating around of me and Sammy G. I got to meet him and Brian Cage at the same event, and I got a few other wrestlers. I got to meet Ted DiBiase, and I got to meet Kelly, like the guy that
was he starstruck when he met you? Oh my God, it's B-Tech Reviews. Let me get my camera out. Let me start vlogging.
No, because I was the one behind the camera actually over here, and I was filming my buddies who were doing the interviews. So it wasn't so much me, but I was still able to take pics and get in with them. But I think Al Snow was at that event also, and Scott Steiner as well. So I pretty much got to meet all of them. I think the only one that didn't show up, I think, to that event that was supposed to be there was I was gonna say Superfly Snuka, but no, who was it? He was just recently in AEW. I'm like blanking out. I forget names really bad. He fought against the Macho Man at WrestleMania 3. Come on, you can help me out with this one.
WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat?
Yeah, Ricky Steamboat. There you go. I always forget his name. I don't know why. But he was supposed to go to that event that year, but something ended up happening, and he had to bail out last minute. So we missed Ricky Steamboat. But he was like one of the main headliners. So.
Oh man, that sucks, man. Ricky Steamboat is awesome.
Yeah. No, I really wanted to meet him also, but I was like, damn, but that guy, he's been doing like events like that every couple of years. Bringing down wrestlers. He brought down like RVD recently and Matt Hardy, and I think he's bringing Kane actually to an event coming up in a month or so. So I don't know if I'm gonna go to that one or not, but I would like to.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, the event overall, like I didn't think it was super amazing. I didn't think it was spectacular.
I think it was just the fact that they sold the tickets and the spectacle of having so many people there. Yeah. I mean, but it's been a long time since someone not named the WWE has sold that many tickets.
You know what the sad part is though about that is like, and maybe it was my stream in general that I was using, but the Wembley crowd was just not there. Like, I don't know if you were able to watch that Cardiff event last year with WWE, right? But the fans in Cardiff were crazy last year. Like, it was like comparing it to like when Sami Zayn was in Toronto or that event that they had before WrestleMania. I don't know if it was Toronto or some other place in Canada. I'm just thinking Canada though, somewhere in Canada.
I think it was in Calgary.
It could have been in Calgary,
possibly.
But like the crowd was super hot for that event, like and it was like every single match, but I just wasn't feeling that here at All In. And there was pops here and there, right? You can see like the crowd in specific sections. But the stadium is so huge, right? They were only focusing like on like one little section of the crowd that were kind of popping when stuff would happen. But you just didn't really get that. And again, maybe it was the audio. Maybe they screwed up on the audio and they weren't trying to get like the loud crowd reactions that you would normally get.
Oh man, you also got to remember that whole card had maybe 3 or 4 people that are actually over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it's the veterans. Mm-hmm. Sting, CM Punk, MJF is not a veteran, but he's over. Yeah. Chris Jericho. I mean, everybody else is still, they're still kind of new.
Yeah, and it's funny, like they even the Kenny Omega match, it was like a trios match, right? That really didn't get a lot of response from me or from the fans in general.
See,
I didn't really care
I don't like watching them because you got these 2 clowns that throw 14 super kicks per
well,
minute.
No, hold on. The Bucks actually were not in that match. The Bucks actually fought against FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championship.
Okay, I'll take that back. They're still clowns, and they still do 14 super kicks per minute. But okay,
they did. But these were the talents in the match. So we had the Bullet Club Gold versus, the Elite. With again, it was, I guess we can call it like the Golden Elite because you had Kota Ibushi and you had Hangman Adam Page.
But God. Oh, goodness. Kota Ibushi, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this was a match I didn't care about. I know, it kind of dragged on for me. Not to like discredit any of the guys. The Golden Elite won on that. I think that was a very big win for Konosuke Takeshita. I can't say his name, sorry. But, I guess they're trying to build him and they're going to try to continue that feud with him and Kenny Omega since Konosuke is taking he's using Don Callis now as his mentor.
Jay White should have went to the WWE. He had a chance. They had an offer. He should have went to the WWE.
From what I heard, there was
so much talks. Better. I heard there were talks.
Absolutely no talks. Like, maybe that's something, but apparently from what he had stated, and then maybe this was just dirt sheets I heard, that there was really no, the talks were very light. There was nothing really to where he was like, gonna sign with them at any point.
And then at the same time, you hear about that, and then 10 years later, they're doing a shoot interview, and they're like, oh, no, there were serious talks. There's probably a clause that said, you don't have to sign with us, but just don't go into depth about it. You know what I mean? Correct, like an NDA, an NDA, no disclosure agreement for those that don't know.
So there's your 2 favorite.
FTR, great tag team. Young Bucks, the complete opposite.
So FTR won that match, luckily, and again, I'm actually surprised to say that it really wasn't as much of a spot fest as I thought it was going to be. Of course, you saw your super kicks, you saw your power bombs off the edge of the the ropes, or not the ropes, but I'm talking about like the edge of the ring and everything like that.
The apron, like Jesus Christ, that's a stupid move. That's the hardest part of the ring. These guys, every time that they take a move there, like when Kevin Owens power bombed Sami Zayn, not just Sami Zayn, but a bunch of people in NXT. It's like, you guys are reducing your career, the life of your career, 2 to 3 years every time you do that shit.
Yep.
Like I don't know how somebody at any company would tolerate that.
Agreed.
Like, come on, guys. You ban pile drivers, but you don't ban power bombs on the apron. How do you fake that? You can't.
And speaking of pile drivers, they actually did a few of them in the match as well. So just for reference on that, they did a few of those. It looked like what was the Young Bucks move, but not really. I think they were doing just regular pile drivers, opposed to the Meltzer driver move that they did.
I bet you Meltzer, just because FTR was in the match, I bet you anything that they're not getting a 5-star.
To be honest, none of the matches in this card were 5-star. I would say the highest was probably maybe like 4.5. That probably would have been Jericho versus Ospreay, if anything. I think this match probably like a high 3, if anything. But like I didn't really see anything that was like to the point where like, oh man, like
So you know what? That brings up a good point after you said that there wasn't really any special matches. This reminds me of WrestleMania in Dallas, 2016, 2015, 2017, where they had 100-something. When they had 100-something thousand people there.
Yeah.
The card was one of the worst cards and that was not a good event at all. Yeah. That was one of the most boring, long WrestleManias I'd ever sat through. It was 7 hours long. You know,
Yeah,
4
I remember.
hours. It was like 4 or 5 hours for the main show itself, 2 hours for the pre-show.
Mhm.
Like I was like, I was actually mad that I sat through the whole thing after. I said, what the hell?
Yeah, no. So I mean, I remember watching that WrestleMania. You know, there was a few moments. You know, I think Stone Cold was there, right? Just a little, you know, like you said, none of the matches really were like, you know, oh, anything to gawk at. But I think, you know, but I think I enjoyed just because it was in Texas, and I'm like, oh, I'm from Texas. So, but yeah, you're right. I think this is why they started going to 2 nights. You know, once COVID happened, and they just decided to start doing like, you know, the 2-night event rather than having like a 7-hour pay-per-view, right? Because the fans are going to be tired and the talent's going to be tired, and just all the crew, like not just, you know, all the production people, everyone that has to, you know, work and sit through that's a long time, you know, for an event. So I definitely I'm definitely glad it's a 2-night event now. Plus you get more chances to put more people in the spotlight also.
Yeah. And also their rosters are really inflated.
Yeah.
I mean, they're inflated, but they're not inflated at the same time, because it's like you see the TV shows. It's like, what about these other guys that are never on here?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
What are your thoughts on the all-in female match? I think this one went actually less than 10 minutes. From what I heard another podcaster say, it was only about 9 minutes. Hikaru Shida went in as the AEW Women's Champion, but unfortunately, Saraya. Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately for Saraya, she walked out as the new Women's Champion. But it was kind of a giveaway. Her parents, her whole family, literally went out with her as she did her entrance, and she came out. She didn't come out to her normal theme music. I think she came out to like some sort of other rock song. I think Tony.
I mean, sometimes that'll give it away.
Yeah, it gave it away big time.
But sometimes, you know, when they have the whole family there, it's a good way to get heat for a heel. You know, Look, Saraya, I love how she wrestles. I think she's a great personality. I can't stand to hear her talk.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the match, but you know, good for her. I'm glad that she's doing what she was raised on, because her family was in the business.
It's in her blood.
You know, I just hope that she's safe, because I know that neck, your neck, once you get it fused back together, that's never going to be 100% again, ever. Look at Stone Cold. He had surgery in 2000. Yeah, he was out for a year. No, in 99, when he got ran over, quote unquote, by Rikishi.
Yeah.
And even though he had surgery and he was out for a year, that neck was still bothering him.
Yep. And a few years later, he didn't last much longer. He ended up retiring a lot.
Yeah, he was gone by 03.
Yep. And, you know, if you know, the whole Owen Hart thing didn't happen where he dropped him on his head, and then the whole thing with Rikishi didn't happen, then who knows? Maybe his career could have lasted another, you know, 5 years. He could have went a little bit longer.
Well, the Rikishi thing, I liked it because it was a good angle. I know it didn't really do nothing, but, you know.
It was an interesting angle, but going back to the whole Saraya thing, you know, I've always been a big fan, even when she was in WWE. Interesting stat. It has been 9 years since she's been a champion or a world champion. So it's 9 years from being a women's champion in WWE to being the AEW women's champion. She is the only woman to have held the AEW women's championship and a WWE women's championship as well. Also, hold on, I was going to throw something else in.
I like go ahead.
No. Go ahead and say what you were saying, because I literally blanked out.
I like the tribute the House of Black did to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, we can go. We can go over that in a minute. But, you know, again, short match in general. You know, I think Britt Baker was a little more invested in this match. I think they put a little bit more of the spotlight on her. Toni Storm, not really. There was a few little nice spots. I really feel bad for Hikaru Shida. The booking was questionable because she just won that title. It hasn't even been like maybe a couple months since she won the second championship for her. But
transitional.
Also, yeah, she was a transitional champion. I kind of hate that, but hopefully, you know, I think she'll be in the title picture eventually again. Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, she was there at the event in the venue, and they kept showing her in the crowd. So I mean,
she's another star.
Yeah.
I mean, if she goes to AEW,
Mhm.
like she's going to overshadow every single woman wrestler there because she is a star, and I'm a fan of hers.
It's going to be
I just
interesting.
worry that if she goes there, because the quality of her work is impeccable. But I'm afraid that
Mhm.
that once she starts getting into the ring with these inexperienced women, that it's good that they're either gonna have to adapt or she's gonna have to adapt, and it's gonna make her look bad.
It'll be interesting, but I'm also interested to see like if and when she does sign, because I think she's still contracted with New Japan, right? But during the media scrum, I believe Soraya did mention her saying that she's ready for her to come basically to AEW.
Well, the thing about Mercedes is that she mentioned that she can leave any company whenever she wants. Like she will not sign an exclusive deal.
Oh, okay.
Like she'll fulfill her obligations, but they're all temporary. So she could really like do one more match. And she's injured now, of course.
Yeah.
She's still getting together, but
Mm-hmm.
she really can go there any day now. Well, I honestly don't want her to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to. I think that that's going to devalue her.
Yeah.
And, I mean, dude, the girl's been on Star Wars.
Yeah. Mandalorian, you're right, correct.
Yeah, she'd be better just staying how she is, but her home is WWE, man.
Yeah, and there's, I'm sure she's been in talks with Bailey and, wanting to come back to WWE. I just don't think she's ready to go back yet. I think she needs to get her footprint out into the other areas of the business, right? So that she can kind of show the WWE people what they lost, I believe. I wasn't a big fan of how that was handled, but we can save that for another stream because I've probably already talked about it. Her and Naomi, but whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. But good for her. She went into business for herself. It's paying off for her. She's been in the
How
spotlight.
is it paying off for her?
Well, the high profile matches that she's getting, the publicity that she's getting,
in the wrestling bubble, just in the wrestling bubble.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much they're paying her, but obviously it's enough to keep her away from WWE.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so when she's taking $30,000 Comic-Con bookings over here or whatever, I think that's how much she's asking for an appearance. I don't know, but anyways, that's neither here.
I got a lot of shit on Twitter about that. Not Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah.
When I said, why are people upset that she's asking for this?
Yeah.
Like she's gonna make you your money back. And I said, if you're upset about it, maybe she should raise the price some more.
Right. And again, I'm just bashing, but it is what it is. But if you think about it, Mercedes was the one that kind of ended Paige's, aka Soraya's, career the first time, right? So there could be something, boiling. Not to say that we're not blaming
that'd be a good angle
for what happened.
That would be a good angle.
It could turn into an angle where hey, her career ended because of something that happened with Sasha Banks at the house show. Of course,
Soraya could be like, "You ended my career,"
right?
Or Sasha could be like, "Oh, I ended your career. I'm gonna end it again," or some shit.
My question is, who would be the face and who would be the heel in that angle?
It could go either way. Yeah,
because right now Soraya's in the heel, so
it would work both ways if Tony Khan actually, puts it together right, which he can't. Because I've said many times he needs to hire a booker, but that's it. It is what it is.
Yep. All right, let's go to that match that you had made mention of. Well, not really the match, but more of a tribute for Bray Wyatt, aka Wyndham Rotunda. I'll let you speak on that earlier. 1 second.
I'm gonna wait for you to come back.
Okay, sorry about that. My dog. I had all my dogs in my room, and they just love to be out here watching me. But anyway.
what is your dog's opinions on this match?
Well, my dogs say woof 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 woof. Anyways,
that was a nice tribute, though. I didn't watch the match though because it claimed. I just don't care about them at all. It's whatever with them.
I enjoy them. It's they're a gimmick tag team. I think Billy Gunn coming back was an all right thing. He was technically trying to retire, I guess, and that really didn't go down the way we wanted it to. But the tribute was very nice for Bray Wyatt, and that's something we can get into before you take off.
Yeah. No, Billy Gunn's another guy, man, that he's got a name. I think he's a coach there,
Badass.
but he's
Billy
someone
Gunn.
else that's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah,
why is this happening? Why is there so much turmoil?
Right.
But at the end of the day, he probably don't say nothing because he's getting paid really well. And honestly, a lot of these wrestlers are overpaid that should not be getting paid what they're being paid for. Matter of fact, they shouldn't even be on national TV to start with.
They belong on the ROH tapings where no one's watching. Most of them.
Yeah, let them develop.
Yeah, but
I
overall,
mean, Ring of Honor. I mean, look, man, Ring of Honor is just a name at this point.
Yeah, no one really watches or cares for Ring of Honor at this point.
Well, not that. They don't have what they had 10, 15 years ago, where it was a serious wrestling promotion, where they had rules, where they really tried to develop the in-ring style of wrestlers. Now it's just AEW light. It's AEW Dark Part 2.
Basically, I kind of miss the AEW Dark shows because I actually would watch them just for the wrestling, because you would see like new talents that they would bring in.
Yeah, a lot of my friends were on there. Like they'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be on AEW Dark." I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm watching."
I mean, you look at like people like Thunder Rosa. She was like on that show so many times, and it led up to her being on the main roster, and then of course winning the women's championship at some point.
I mean, you got to look at it like this. Just because you were big in some other indie company does not mean you're ready for another company's main roster. I mean, how many guys from Impact, Ring of Honor, they're former world champions? It's like, okay, cool. You're still going to NXT because we need to get you, right into the WWE style. I mean, there's been a few exceptions that went straight to the main roster, like AJ Styles.
Yeah.
There's a few that should not have been on the main roster or NXT. They should have went straight to the main roster,
Very true. Also, I definitely agree there.
Like Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
I mean, his style is really stiff, so I get why they put him in NXT first.
Yeah.
But and shit, AJ Styles, if we're looking at that, but the thing about AJ is he adapts really quickly. So it's like, I think if he would have fucked up a few times, then they would have probably sent him to NXT to get his shit back together.
Luckily, that didn't happen. And a few years later, he has won the WWE Championship Tag Team titles and the U.S. title. I don't think he's won the Intercontinental Championship just yet, but they haven't really been using him much on SmackDown lately. I don't know what's going on with him and stuff like that. I think
I think he's to the point where he's probably just doing little part-time stuff because he's not a spring chicken no more.
Yeah, and he extended I believe he had renewed his contract maybe like a year or two ago. I don't know how long that contract extension was, but I'm happy to see him like anytime. I think SmackDown's coming to one of my local venues coming up in a month or two, and I'm hoping he's there. I'm hoping we get to see AJ Styles because he's always fun to watch in the ring.
Yeah.
Always fun to watch. But yeah, the tribute was nice. I don't know if you guys saw that entrance, but they had a lantern on the floor, I believe, at their entrance, and they turned down the lights. Everyone busted out their phones, and they were able to do like the little Firefly tribute for this.
Yeah. It was they put a lantern down, and then they did the whole Firefly thing. Everybody pulled out their flip phones.
Yeah, because they don't have smartphones in London. Those big.
They're still behind the times. I mean, for goodness sake, people still have wood on their teeth over there.
They're all still using Android 4.1 over here.
They still have wood in their teeth.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean.
Look, man, this is the reason I wanted to get to this match. Okay, I wanted to talk about Bray Wyatt real quick before I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm a little bit upset. Okay. There are so many people online saying, "Oh, Bray Wyatt, he's problematic, he's unreliable, he sucks now, he's lazy, etc." Just talking all this shit, not knowing exactly what's going on. And these same assholes turn around and they're like, "Oh, he's God, I loved him, etc., etc." Fuck you. Like, it's just I don't get why people are like that. Like just talking shit when they don't know what exactly is going on,
Yeah, I mean, and that could just be people on Twitter or, certain specific podcasters that just weren't fans, right? me, I mean, me and Tito talked about it already last week. We did a tribute, kind of like a tribute show, just talking about him. I don't know if you got to catch any of that or not. But if you haven't, go back and watch it and smash the like button, by the way. Shameless plug there.
That's a
But,
crime.
yeah, don't cry. But yeah, I mean, I was happy to see his last match, man. Honestly, like, when I was there at the Rumble this year, this past January, I never thought that would be his last match, and that I would be seeing, like, that I would be there live to watch it. Yeah, he had a few little bit of angles here and there, on SmackDown. After the Royal Rumble, things were kind of spaced out, and then he just stopped showing up after the whole Bobby Lashley, I guess, face off. He stopped showing up, and I'm very sad. He was a very dynamic character, a four-dimensional character, not a three-dimensional, but a four-dimensional character, a guy that can really get into his character.
Yeah,
Really
look, I get it. He wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world. A lot of his matches were not good at all.
Yeah.
But as far as the character, the promo, the presentation, it was just off the charts.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy, Bray Wyatt, was basically Waylon Mercy meets The Undertaker. I don't know if y'all know who Waylon Mercy is. If you don't, look him up.
No, I'm not familiar.
Waylon Mercy was based off that one movie with Robert De Niro, where he's like a psycho on an island stalking a family. I forgot the name of it.
Oh gosh.
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think anyone was saying that Bray Wyatt was the best wrestler ever or whatever, anything like that. For me, it was just more the character, the promos, the mind games that he played with his opponents. Guys like John Cena.
It really, really made me angry. That all these people were just shitting on him.
Yeah.
When he disappeared from TV, and then it's like now it's like, oh well, I take it back. And they wouldn't even take it back. Like, I said something, I was talking out of my rear end, but no, they're like, oh no, I loved him. He was great, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna post it on Twitter because it's X now.
X, yeah, so
DX. Yeah, I was gonna put it. I was like, I don't feel like arguing today, so I left it alone. I said I'd wait to get on a live stream or something with someone and tell them what I felt like. But I don't know if you remember that at all. People were talking mad shit when he disappeared.
Was this after the Rumble, or are you talking about like before, when he left the company, like the first time?
No, this is after the Rumble.
Okay.
I mean, people were talking shit anyways when he left and came back. I think his prior release is what kind of triggered the Marks to talk all this crap. But yeah, it's like, you don't know what's going on for real.
Yeah, and it sucks because apparently, from what I was reading, he had gone to his doctor that morning, because again, I guess he had already been having like cardiac issues within that past couple of weeks, and apparently he was supposed to be wearing like a defibrillator. I don't know how you say it exactly, defibrillator, and so that he can prevent his heart from going into cardiac arrest. And he just apparently went home and went to bed, and he never woke up after that. Yeah. So they found.
And then they said that they found that thing in his car.
Yeah, so that's very disheartening to hear about that, because this, ultimately could have been prevented, and who knows, maybe they would have ended up having to put one in his heart, right? I think Triple H actually has a one installed in his heart, a defibrillator. But
not only that though. This guy he wasn't in the business for very, very long, maybe a decade.
Yeah,
but he went hard, man. That this is not ballet. People get hurt. I'm pretty sure his wife, who's attending several children, saw him say, "Hey, I'm going to take a nap." I'm pretty sure she didn't say, "Oh, where's your thing or heart thing or whatever." I'm pretty. She could have been occupied. I wonder that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, or maybe they weren't home. Maybe they were doing
that too. Maybe she wasn't home.
Yeah, and I mean, no, I'm not saying like we're blaming anybody for.
No, absolutely not.
Definitely nobody's fault, right? But yeah, it's just one of those deals where it's like it just happened, and we, nothing. There's nothing we can do about it. It's like when Eddie passed
Not only
away.
that, though, that thing, it only prevents it to an
Yeah.
extent, I mean, from what it sounds like, he may have had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
So, and that's that right there. If you have a massive heart attack, you're 9 times out of 10, you're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's only a
Because
matter of
like
time.
literally your heart is like exploding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
But man,
it
36,
just
dude,
sucks.
he was only 2
36.
years younger than me. That's scary. And I'm pretty sure I live much more unhealthy than he does. So that's a
Yeah.
wake up call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 37, so I didn't even realize he was younger than me. I thought I was younger than him. I thought he was closer to 40, but that was a shocker to
You
hear.
got to grow a beard like he had.
This is it right here, Ross. This is it. I can't zoom in, sadly, but that's it right there. Real deal.
Yeah, but I was really, really shocked when I found out, especially considering when Brody died just 2 years ago, and that really, really, really affected him. Like that sent him on a downward spiral as well of depression.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a little bit of a huskier guy, so I'm pretty sure he was,
eating his feelings.
Yeah, that happens. That could have been that too.
Yeah, and I mean, I just like yourself, I was shocked. I didn't expect it. I think I was the one that broke the news to you and Tito. Perhaps I'm not 100% sure if that's how you guys found out.
When you sent it to me, like right when you sent it to me, I mute WhatsApp because I have just too many notifications. And I opened it up and there was like 5 messages like, "Hey, you heard what happened to Bray Wyatt? You heard what happened to Bray Wyatt?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And I seen it, and then it's like, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
That's crazy. Triple H tweeted that.
Yeah.
And that tweet got like 30 million
views,
impressions, and he hasn't tweeted anything since.
I mean, what is there to
there's
tweet?
still people. There's a lot of people that have not, broken their silence about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the tribute show on SmackDown, it was all right. I didn't, I think the videos that they put together for him and Terry Funk were on point, and the talent that were able to go out there and show off or talk about Bray. I know LA Knight gave him a shout out towards the end of his promo. A lot of them were wearing armbands,
including Mercedes
during the show. Yeah, I think. Mercedes Monet, I'm not sure about that. I mean, she might have been wearing one at All In. I can't.
She was. She did.
She was. I wasn't paying attention to that. She might have been though, but
yeah, like I was trying to look at her breasts and then I saw her armband.
I love how blunt you are. Like I was just trying to look at her titties.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, y'all. I just I bring the topic to the show.
We're keeping this show PG-14 over here, guys. But I mean, I'm still generally shocked by that, just because again, he was close to our age. I had COVID. I don't know if you had COVID yet or not.
I did. I had COVID when it first hit.
I haven't been to a cardiologist, right? But I can tell you, I'm on blood pressure medication and on cholesterol meds now.
Man, I'm diabetic. So I had to get the vaccine.
Yeah. So, and I got the 2 vaccines, right? But both of them made me feel horrible.
No, that's what they do, though. Yeah, I've never felt good after a vaccine, so
yeah. So I'm lucky to be here. Like me and my family, we all had it. We're all still lucky to be here. Also, my siblings, my sister and her kids, everyone has had it. We're all still here. But again, for some people, it could affect them in such ugly ways. A lot of Brody Lee's death, was really still undisclosed, but it could have been something related to COVID, also, even though I think they stated that it wasn't, but.
Yeah, they said it wasn't. I don't know, but I do know it was something wrong with his lungs, apparently.
Yeah, but
that was another one that was a big shocker too.
Yeah,
I think that the reason people might be mourning Bray a little more, and I don't want to compare it because they're both horrible tragedies.
Yeah,
is probably because Bray was a main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a little more known. I think that Brody Lee, when he was Luke Harper, was so underutilized because if you watch some of his indie stuff, that guy potentially could have been an equal equally as great of a talker as Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. No, I believe it. And, you know, he had a little bit of singles, run in WWE. He was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was just barely starting to scratch the surface as Mr. Brody Lee and being the head of the Dark Order in AEW when we saw him, there. And, that last match with him versus Cody, I think it was like, a dog collar match or something, I believe.
Something like that.
But that was a solid match, man. And he was kind of like, he was making waves, and it was just so shitty that he wasn't even there like a year, and then he fell ill, and that happened. And then of course, Bray Wyatt, you can tell that really affected him, because when Bray Wyatt came back, you saw it in his promos, that it was still affecting him. Like maybe I'm one of the only people that kind of caught that.
Like I remember his last match at WrestleMania as the Fiend, where Alexa Bliss came out and costed him the match versus Orton.
Mm-hmm.
When he came out, he did that yeah thing that Brody used to do, little tribute.
Yeah, no, I really believe that that was his, even though it wasn't his blood brother. Like those guys loved each other to death.
Mean, look, you got to remember this: when Eddie Guerrero died, I don't think anybody, including Eddie's family, took it as hard as Chris Benoit did.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
Based on the stories I've heard, it really, really affected him neurologically.
Yep.
Yeah,
if you watch, the Dark Side of the Ring episodes, and I'm not saying that, trying to justify anything there with Chris Benoit, right? Everyone's going to have their opinions on it, but, there was a lot of talk about how he was acting after Eddie's death and how badly it affected him as well. So, not saying that that's a factor of what he did and why he did it, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
He's the only man that'll ever know why he did what he did.
But be a great wrestler, an excellent, one of the best of all time.
Being one of the best of all time in the ring, yeah. But being that
he loved wrestling so much that he practiced his moves on his wife and son.
No comment is all I'm gonna say.
No, let's go.
We're gonna get canceled over here, bro. The Scorpion Deathlock podcast is no more.
I'm the uncancelable, brother, because nobody knows what I look like, for starters.
I'm gonna go screenshot a picture and I'm gonna put it up there for everybody to see.
Right,
okay? You better take down that Instagram right now.
It goes to show you that when somebody dies, it's a huge difference when somebody is gonna eventually pass away to when someone just 1 minute you're here, the next day you're gone.
Yeah, and the only thing I can compare that to is Terry Funk died literally 24 hours before Bray Wyatt died. It wasn't such a big shocker because of his age, right? It was expected for an older guy like Terry Funk to pass away. He had his health issues. Everyone kind of knew about that. But then, boom, next day, Bray. It's like...
and Terry Funk, who I'm a big fan of as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The last time a significant wrestling death happened so close to each other in time frame was Dusty Rhodes and Roddy Piper. I think they died 2 weeks apart, but 24 hours, that was crazy. 24 hours.
Yeah, last week was just a very bad week in wrestling, if I could be honest. And I'm just like, wow, I just didn't expect it. I growing up, I didn't really see a lot of Terry Funk stuff. I got to see a little bit of the ECW, the WWE stuff with Mick Foley. I didn't really get to see the older stuff when he was in NWA or the Territory days. But
and that's when he was the best.
Yeah.
My introduction to Terry Funk was him wearing a pantyhose over his head.
Oh god.
And cutting himself through a big wooden box.
Oh gosh.
That's Chainsaw Charlie, 1997. Yeah. That's what happened though. Yeah. I just say it in a way where it's come on, Bill.
Yeah, no, I think I remember the whole pantyhose thing and Chainsaw Charlie.
He was probably wearing pantyhose too. He probably liked it.
What the thing about Terry Funk is what I loved about he probably liked it. He probably went into the women's locker room and stole their pantyhose, probably, who knows.
From Sable,
maybe.
He probably smelled them first.
From Sunny.
Oh no, those were stank. Those probably had white residue on them.
But
hey, that's my nose tissue.
Nasty. Anyways, Terry Funk, he was the hardcore legend before hardcore even became a thing. I think, or at least to the best of my knowledge, he was one of the first like pioneers of those like those hardcore matches. So, RIP to him also. I didn't get to watch a lot of that stuff growing up, but definitely have a lot of respect for him and his brother. I think they were one of the first like set of champions that were brothers. Also, I believe
Corey and Terry. Yep.
Yeah, both of them held world championships. I think so. I think they were the
Yep.
first.
Dory Funk is actually one of the best trainers in the history of wrestling. Like he's had a hand in training a lot of people, including Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to hear about that because I was just watching an interview with Kurt Angle and Chris Van Vliet earlier today. So it's funny that you mentioned that. And Chris Van Vliet thinks that Kurt Angle is the best wrestler of all time. So I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the best. He adapted really quickly. It was like a fish in water.
Yeah.
And that's except because the fish didn't have Percocets.
Yeah, no. So yeah, you're right. I think he was able to do face and heel very well. Honestly, the in-ring work, he didn't have any issues there. I believe he was able to, go at the beginning and, this was pre NXT when they didn't have any development, right? They trained for 6 months and then Vince just threw him out there and he's like, sink or swim, I'm going to give you this promo and you go out there and you give it. And, you're either going to fail really bad or you're going to succeed. So luckily for him, it worked out.
Uh-huh.
Multi-time champion. I think he's the only guy to ever be like a WWE, TNA, and a New Japan champion, if I'm not correct on that, or maybe AJ
WCW.
Styles, WCW probably as well, right?
The fake WCW,
the fake one, the WWE version of
Wish Championship Wrestling,
the Temu version. Okay,
there you go.
There you go. Who uses Wish anymore? It's all about
Temu States champion.
Temu, but anyways,
not too much yet.
Yeah, but I guess Tito never came in, man. I thought he was going to come in tonight. He never messaged us, so we've already been going for a good hour already. So I know you probably got to go. Is there anything you want to end off with tonight, Mr. Mill?
I ended up staying because I was having too much of a time talking my usual junk, brother.
Oh, whatever.
But I'm gonna have to definitely go because my battery's like at 3%.
Sounds good, man. We'll give Magic Tech John a call once you get it charged up. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. You guys have a good night. Thank you all for watching.
We'll be back on soon again.
Yeah, no, we'll get
on again with more comedic antics.
Oh gosh,
I'm the Jim Cornette. I'm the Jim Cornette of Temu and Wish.
Oh my gosh, he's just he wants to get canceled over here. It's what it is. But yeah, well, I guess again, thank you for being here, Mill Hustles tonight. Everyone that was watching, the 2 people that were watching, y'all have a great night. Y'all, thank you again.